What's up, guys? Today it is Tank Talk Day. We will be talking about the M1441 medium tank for Italy. We will not be using, for example, if you go to the tech tree, we will not be using the War Thunder World of Tanks description for these, because they're not very historical. Like, for example, maybe some are, but I'd rather use my own information and that I kind of looked up for than the games. So let's talk about the M1441. Before we start, I'm going to point this out later. So M1441. The M1441 is a medium tank used by the Italian army between 1941 and 1942. It was designed and manufactured by Ansaldo. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Excuse me. Like 752, around 800 were built. They were used in the North African campaign. And they were used by the Kingdom of Italy, Nazi Germany. Now, Wikipedia says that it was used by the British and the Australians? But I don't think that's true. That doesn't sound true. Maybe it's me. So if you want to say the British and them used it, because I know if you look it up, if you go to your YouTube right now and look up, or Google and you look up Egyptian M1441, because I do remember. There we go. I was wondering why I wasn't driving. Or there. Hold on. I'm proving myself wrong here. I shouldn't be doing tank talks if I. That was a big shot, but okay. I read somewhere though that it was used in the desert. It was used in Egypt against the Israelis during the 1948 Arab-Israeli wars. Anyway, so you see, like, for example, in Tank Encyclopedia says 800, and Wikipedia says 752. I'm just gonna say around 800, so that way we make no one mad here. Now, what was the tank armed with? Well, this variant, which I'm using, nice, is armed with a 47mm cannon. I'm just double checking my work, guys. If I'm not talking a lot, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting my info right. Because that's what I hate. I'm going on a rant here. I'm on my soapbox. I hate people spreading misinformation, especially about tanks. Because I love tanks. I love learning about tanks. I think they're cool. So, when I hear, like, people whining or just spreading misinformation about anything, I just don't like it. And I mean, I don't. It's cool, but like, don't. So a 47mm cannon. You can see it in damage right now. Look at this. Kaboom! Oh, I missed. What do you have your back armor? You know what? He's like the one smart player ran into. All these players, I don't know what's been going on. Maybe I'm getting bad lobbies, but all these players, I've only died like a few times, and I was using a rank 1. Yeah, in World of Tanks, this is a rank 2. Let's go back to the actual tank itself. Now, it is based off the Vickers tank used by the British. You can kind of see that in its design, if you know what I'll show it after this battle, but if you look at the Vickers and compare it to this, you will see very much Actually, the M1441 is an upgrade of the M1340. Now, I should go describe what M1441 means. The M stands for the type. It is a medium. 14 is how much it weighs. I don't consider that I don't think they should be a medium tank due to the fact the Stuart was like 15. But hey, you do you, man. And 41 is the year it was put into service. You can see a problem there? Yeah, it's a big one. And it's that of the fact this tank would be... Oh, my engine's dead. Stop shooting me. Oh! What? He's in front of me? I'm blind. I said this in a... The Chiro. Now we can actually go into a little more detail. You guys saw me get beat. It's not a good tank. If it was made in the 30s, like it was based off, maybe. Because like here, I'll show you a tank. Do the British have it? They have the cruiser. It's China that has this, but does nobody use the Vickers? I mean, I'm sorry guys. I'm just trying to show you guys what I'm talking about. It's the 17P is pretty good. This is a Vickers. Okay, it's a good enough. I'll find a better one. I don't like this. Go to China. And the Vickers Mark E Type B, you can see it. You can see the resemblance of how it goes down. You got its turret. Yeah, the Vickers was like made in the 20s and 30s. Our good friend of the Italians used this tank in 1941. Now you might be thinking, oh, that can't be bad. I mean, that's right. Okay, let's see what the British were using. Well, they've already been ran into the Matilda, which then again, not even Germans could punch this. Valentine's, which I will admit is probably one of my favorite tanks, but that's besides the point. What is their allies using? That's a good question. Well, they'd be using stuff like the Panzer IV. Maybe not this variant, but they'd be using a Panzer IV. And this is being used. Not a good tank. Not a great tank. Now, you might be thinking, well, if they're pretty much at this time, by like 42, they're fighting stuff like a... Here, perfect example. An M4 Sherman. Or in like Russia, they're fighting against KVs and T-34s. Why don't the Italians build something better? Thing was, Italy, what a lot of people don't understand is that I think we give a lot of credit to Germany and their industry about tanks, because Italy and their other axis could not make enough tanks. Okay? It was not a good tank. Like, they didn't have the industrialization to build tanks like the Germans could. Now, let's go. If you look at the Italian tech tree, though, they got some of it, right? For example, the P-2640, maybe not with this gun, but they did plan this. Just never went into service. Now, of course, you could say the only good thing that came out of it, of the M13, of the, the M13, M14 series, was the tank destroyer lines, but I feel like that's a little biased, you know. So let's that's just one of the problems with that Italy's industry. They don't have it in the game, do they? No, they don't. Okay, this is a good example. The Fiat 3000. This was being used in the Battle of Sicily of 1943. This World War I design. This is a World War I design. You don't believe me? Here, I'll show you the example. Look, right here. The first World War I tank. I'm not reading this. This is the first modern tank. The FT-17. Armed with a rotating 37mm cannon. Because their plan was to pretty much make a tank where whoever gets a tank with a 75mm and a rotating turret has won the war, but they only got the 37. That's World War I. I can't be mad at them because Italy didn't have the industrial capabilities to build it. Okay? They were struggling the entire war. So, now, I mean, if you were using this as an... I don't know. It just kind of annoys me. This tank's very... Oh, I can get some decals. That's kind of cool. Did I select any? Photos. I'm decorating here. I'm not going to decorate. That's stupid. So anyway, these tanks didn't just see service in North Africa, like I'm saying. So I know for a fact that these tanks were in, or maybe I'm getting it confused with the N1340s, but I know for a fact that these tanks were used pretty much the whole war. All these tanks were. Any old Italian tank from like the 30s and 40s would be used throughout the war, either by the Italians and the Republicans, which was led by a king, or the fascists, led by Mussolini, who's a puppet state of the Germans by the 43. I mean, they made some decent ideas for these tanks. For example, the Semovente M41M or the 9053. The Semovente M1441. It's a very big tank, 90mm. In my opinion, it's probably a good variant of this tank. This didn't just serve on Africa, though. That's what I was at. This tank didn't just sit in Africa. Maybe the M1441, maybe. But I know tanks like the M1340s, not the M1542. That tank's a whole different story. That was made, it was used by both Republican. Italy tanks are very sad. That's all you need to know. For example, the L333. What is this? It's a tank that's the size of a go-kart, and it's only armed with machine guns, except a variant, the L33CC, armed with a cannon. 20 mm. Look at this. Now you see those? Okay, yeah, but these tanks were pretty much used everywhere. Wherever Italy went, the L3 and these whenever these guys could come out, were there. As you see me shooting one. These aren't good tanks. Now, in the 30s, these would be great. Like, Italy had a good... Italy is good at updating vehicles. Like, for example, the Fiat 3000 is probably one of the best versions of the FT-17 variants. Problem is, the Fiat 3000 was made in 1921-ish, when the FT was 1917. Well, the FT is not really its full name. That's actually the American name given to it, which in America, the American name is the French tank model 1917. The French tank, I'm not going to say, because I don't know how to pronounce French. So anyway, pretty much, that's what you need to know. That these tanks would pretty much go around and serve wherever Italy went. You would, in North Africa, you would probably see a M1441. Now, I know that the L640 was in Russia. I also know some of these tanks were given to the Croats. I'm pretty sure I'm getting my M1340 and the M1441 messed up. I'm also doing research. If this is my first video, so if I get it wrong, I'm sorry. I will make more videos and I will make them more correct. I'm very sorry. But anyway, if this tank, let's talk about it. This tank was made in the 30s. It would be a good tank if it was produced in 1930, let's say 33. This would be a great Vickers tank. Problem is, it wasn't. It was made in 1941. The M13 was made in 1940, based off the Vickers, my ad. Now let's talk about something. This is a good picture. You see those like drill holes? Those are rivets. You see, one of the problems was that this tank was very light armored. Okay? The front had 30 millimeters, if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure there's stories you can see where pretty much Italian tanks have to rush the Americans, right? I've heard a story. I might be correct. I might be incorrect. I'm sorry. Information's very out there. But if I am correct, and we'll say I am correct, because I am the best. But these tanks, when they first met the Grants, the Lees, and the Sherman, couldn't kill it. The only thing they could kill is the tracks. And it was pretty much a bloody massacre. But digress. The Italian economy was not very good. I'm pretty sure it became actually mobilized by the 50s. And Mussolini wanted pretty much an economy that could keep up with its war efforts when Italy couldn't even keep up with itself. It's no surprise that these tanks weren't good. Now, anyway, what was I saying? Rivets. Yes, rivets. These rivets, you see them? Problem was, since it was so lightly armored, when it got hit, they had a high chance of those bullets. Almost, yeah, they'd end up like bullets. They just shoot up. And that's why casting's better than welding? No. I'm probably getting this wrong. And again, I'm terribly sorry. I will... Well, okay. Now, I'm gonna read these rivets. Yeah, riveted armor. I'm an idiot. Riveted armor. Riveted armor. Yes, riveted armor. Pretty much they would bounce around everywhere. So, and then when Italy pretty much surrendered in 1943, the Germans, under Hitler's command, sent the SS, saved Mussolini, got him out of prison, and then retook, pretty much had to restart all tank production, and, well, this was the tank. This tank served with the Croats against the Yugoslavs. So, it saw some good service. But in the end, it's still a bad tank for its time. Alright, if it would have been introduced 7 years earlier instead of 41, so like 34 at least, it would have been a decent tank. But it wasn't. No, what is the difference between something like the M1441 and the M1341? Or the M1340? Pretty much, it was redesigned. It had a redesigned hull with better armor. And I'm pretty sure most of the like upgrades weren't major except a little better armor and like I'm sorry. A little bit of better armor and like a better engine sometimes. To be honest, I think it would have been, I don't know, would have it been better? Oh yeah, we won. Watch that. I'm so good. It's just it's sad, kind of, if you want to think of it like that. That this is pretty much the best Italy could do. And they were this. Ew. Why does it gun look like that? Okay, anyway, but yeah, the Italians did not have a good tank. Now, if they're fighting something like BT5s or even Stuarts, I give the Italians a chance. But like I said, when the Italians first ran into, I'll show you them, they don't have the M3. Huh. That's kind of stupid, my opinion. Maybe the British have it, do they? Wow. Well, I guess we won't show you the M3. Alright, close enough. The M4A1. The Italians couldn't pin it, so pretty much it'd have to go for its tracks. And the Americans could just one-shot any Italian tank. Also, it's very outdated design. For example, that's a side hatch to escape. As in, if the tank was shot, you can get out of where at? You can get out of the turret. Right here. Here. I'm pretty sure these two, but I'm probably not correct. Anyway, it's got a crew of 4. The full name is like the Caro Armata M41. I'm probably saying this wrong. So, question of the day is really nothing. You can't really question anything of this. You just got to sit back and realize that Italy was too poor to build anything good. They pretty much took foreign designs instead of making their own designs and just built those. So that's really all they could do. They could be like, but what about like this tank, the M1542? That has to be ready, right? No. This tank would serve multiple fronts. These were not good. The M15, it pretty much ends here. If you want a historical tank tech tree, these 3, pretty much, in the Simavente. This tank here, around 800 of these were made. Some sources say 826. I'm just going to say around 800, so that way we don't anger anybody. It was armed with a 75mm cannon. Yeah, I'm correct. 75mm cannon. This was pretty much based off, because the story of the P-26 is that the Germans gave the Italians a captured trophy tank of a Soviet P-34, and they pretty much copied it. Most were used by the Germans. Alright, excuse me. Shoot. Well, I think that's all we can really talk about the M1441 tank. So if this wasn't very good quality, I know. More videos like this will be better. Like, I'll put more effort into it. I'm putting effort into this. It's just, because I suck. But, yeah. So if you like stuff like this and want to see this improve, hit the like button, like and subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'm already telling you, the next video is going to be about the Leicht Tractor. And I just like the goofy little design of that tank. So we will be doing that. My plan is to at least get every tank that was made at least in a series. For example, we could do the Czechs. Well, this is like the Czechs LTVZ-38, which is pretty much just the Czech. This is the Panzer 38 before the Panzer 38. The Japanese, for example, their Chiha tanks. The Chinese and their student protester tanks. The Poles and their... Poland didn't have much of a tank. And just stuff like that. I think that would be cool. I think I want to do that. Not only do I get to play a few games of World of Tanks and show you how good I am. I'm not good. But I also get to talk to you guys about something I really do enjoy, which is tanks. I love talking about tanks. So yeah, if you like this, like and subscribe, so that way you never miss a video. And this was the story of the M1441 and my talk about it. Alright, peace guys.